good job.
You did great.
Yeah, you're
I got 3
working on it.
monitors going.
Nicely done. All right,
Oh, I
we're
missed that one.
gonna go ahead and get this party started. So what I wanted to do first off is a little bit of shop news. All right. First of all, I want to make sure everybody's aware, especially those folks in the room here. I'm looking around; they're not going to do. We launched it. We've got a program called We Own Winter. I've got on my sweatshirt back here, right? Woohoo!
Mm-hmm.
It's November 1st through March 31st. It's a contest to keep you guys diving over the winter. So we will roll out social media newsletter posts with the goal of keeping everybody diving this winter. There are a lot of classes that we teach. There are also good winter courses. And of course, we'll be focusing on some project aware courses. So just because it's cold out, it gives you no excuse. You got to come play with us. One of the things we're going to have is the dive into the new year. So we're working on all the details, but we went to Mermet and we jumped in the water at 11:30 p.m. December 31st. One of our instructors, Nick Atherton, he had rigged up this big DSMB buoy. He had strung all kinds of Christmas lights all around it, and we launched it from 60 feet at the stroke of midnight. It was an outstanding weekend, an evening I should say, and a fun way to bring in the new year. So put that on your calendars, and then we spent the night that night, and then we came in, and at noon, Glenn does his annual polar bear plunge. So we were all on the dock for the polar bear plunge. So December 31st, January 1st, great way to ring in the new year. Yeah, the Mullins are passing. They're not doing that.
Staying on shore with the hot butter rum.
I was gonna say you can be shore support with cookies and hot
Yeah,
chocolate.
shore support.
There you
Yeah,
go.
little, yeah. All right, and then mark your calendars too. We're going to be taking part in the Ice Hole Festival out of Lake Okoboji, Iowa. That's January 29th through February 2nd, and I think the weekend is February 1st and 2nd. So that's when all the recreational dives are happening. Earn some street cred, walking out there on the ice, and it is really wicked cool to go underneath the ice and actually touch the ice above your head. The light comes in, you can see very well, and pretty fun event. Patty's there, Fourth Element is there. They've got a lot of local dive shops, and then it's mostly spearheaded by Scuba International. They're out of Texas, and we've been partnering with them. Rich and Janetta out of Texas. So anyway, Ice Hole Festival, Lake Okoboji, Iowa. All right, let's see here. We have Ice Hole, how to use and choose dive computers. I think that's about it. Our Scuba Santa event, I just want to report, I think we had like 30 people get their pictures taken with Scuba Santa, and we generated $1,000, more than $1,000 for the St. Louis Area Food Bank. Yeah. So those were some fun photos to see. The kids did a great job too, and we're really proud of partnering with the St. Louis Food Bank and getting them some funding. Let's see here, holidays sales. We've got all kinds of great things here at the store. I just got in, I should have brought some to show you, but some stickers. We went to the Day We Knew Centaura in Raja Ampat, and our cruise director, her name is Simone, and during COVID, of course, the ship got dry docked and they got all laid off. She went back to Bali, and she started pursuing an art, something she'd wanted to do with artwork. And she started drawing things, and it has turned into a fabulous business. So I bought these little stickers. You know how it's real popular now to put stickers on your water bottle? I've got nudibranchs, and I have reef, and I also have mantas. So I'll have those. It'll be great little stocking stuffers. Those just came in today from Bali, okay? And they're kind of fun. And we also have some great sales going on, and we look forward to seeing you this holiday season. So tonight, I am really excited about tonight's presentation. So we met Nancy on our Antarctica trip. Nancy was there with her brother, and we visited, and we've become fast friends. She is helping me with some of our travel opportunities that we have coming up. She's just a really remarkable person. So she is, I'm going to read from her bio officially. So she is a celebrated underwater explorer, a filmmaker, and an adventurer with over 3 decades of experience. She is a member of the Women Divers Hall of Fame and an Explorers Club Fellow. She has piloted the Exosuit, scuba dived on all 7 continents, and captured rare footage of extraordinary marine encounters, including snorkeling with whales, crocodiles, and tonight's presentation, diving with an elephant. Known for blending scientific exploration with storytelling, her work promotes ocean conservation and has been featured in numerous documentaries, publications, and exhibitions. And so we are really thrilled tonight to have Miss Nancy joining us as part of my speaker series. You know, my speaker series, what I was talking about with my Antarctica trip, one of the best things about that trip was getting to meet all the cool people on the trip. So scientists, explorers, and folks like my dear friend, Miss Nancy McGee. Everybody, please join me in welcoming Nancy. Hi, Nance.
It's a real honor to be here.
Yay.
So I heard you guys had GoPro night last night, and way to go for that, because in 1987, that takes me way back, that's when I decided to go pro, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made, because I think that most of my lasting friendships have come from teaching scuba, being a dive master, going through that, and then of course leading trips. And you know, it's amazing the people that you meet along the way, and divers are great fun to be with.
Amen.
So when Valerie, they are, yeah, like you, like this group here. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. Let's just start off with my swimming elephant experience. That was a long time ago. I think it was 2008. I can't really remember, but it's one of those things that comes up all the time because people love to see it. So I figured I'd just go ahead and share with you what it was like to swim with an elephant, because it was one of those dream come true for me. So are you ready for me to share my screen and go through this?
Yep, you can do it.
Okay, and if you want to hold questions till the end, that's great. And I've got a little bit of video, and I'm going to talk through some facts, and then afterwards, I'm happy to answer questions about swimming elephants or diving anywhere in the world, anything else I can help with. And if I don't know the answer, I'll make something up, and I'll make it sound believable, because along the way, as well as what Valerie read to you, I spent 34 years in public education, everything from a classroom teacher and coach all the way up to being an administrator on the scary dark side at the district level, trying to get 46 schools to embrace STEM education. So it's been an interesting journey, but that's why I love filming. I love to be able to tell stories, because I want to be able to bring it back to people who aren't as fortunate as us to get to go experience that. So here we go with Rajan the swimming elephant. You know, I got into diving in 1979, and not very long after that, I learned of these things, these elephants that swim, and they swim in the ocean. And so I dreamed about getting to have an elephant swim over my head. I always wanted to make that happen. So anytime I heard of the Andaman Islands, or anytime something came up about elephants, I thought, you know what, that is something I am definitely going to do one of these days.
What happened to her picture?
Am I still here?
Yeah,
You're
kind
here,
of.
but
Hold on a second. The
Your
presentation didn't come
presentation
up.
isn't catching up.
Okay.
Black screen all of a sudden.
Wait.
Okay, hold on.
How about now?
The screen is blank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened, why it's not showing.
All right.
I
Let
started
me.
this before, but then it caught up when you did
Un-
it. There it goes.
There it is.
Your screen is back.
Okay. So do you want me to just do it off of the second screen, or do you want me to? Can you see my screen share?
We can see your presentation, but now it just went black.
Okay.
I'm not sure what just changed.
All right. Well, it's the same thing Lieutenant did not long ago. So how about I just run it from here? See if I can just work my way through this then. Are you guys good to see
Yeah,
this?
we can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see that right now.
All right. So You're good there?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. How about if I do this? Is it gone again?
Yeah, it went black again. Are you running that on the other screen?
I am.
Ah, that might be why it went black. Now, when you did it, it went black for a second, but it did catch up. But
All right. Well, it was the same screen that I ran it on when I tested it.
yeah,
That's usually how this works,
Yeah.
right, Nancy?
just I was gonna say, just run it through from this view to the presentation view.
All right. So I learned that Jacques Cousteau had been to the Andaman Islands, and he found out about these swimming elephants. And the story was that they had taken these elephants to the Andaman Islands, and I'll share with you where that is in just a minute. And they were using them for logging. So these guys put the elephant on a boat, on some barge, and took it to an island, and didn't bother to tie it up. They went to sleep, and the next morning they woke up, and the elephant was missing. And they, it's an island, where's it gonna go? But it was gone. So they found out that elephants actually swim to other islands to get to their girlfriends. So that was the story that Jacques Cousteau told, and I've tried to find that video everywhere. I can't find it. But anyway, let me share with you Andaman Islands. So here's where they are. You can see where India is. You guys can see my pointer. I don't know if you can, but we've got the subcontinent of India, and then in that red box there is the Andaman Islands. Can you see that okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll assume that's a yes.
Yes,
we're
it
good.
is. Sorry.
Had us
Ian
muted.
muted us.
We're good.
No worries. Okay, and so within that red box, there's this archipelago of the Andaman and the Nicobar Islands. And these islands are owned by India, and they are India's most remote outpost. And I learned in a very difficult way that in India, if you lose favor with the government, you do something as a government official or a military person to make somebody unhappy, you get posted in the Andaman Islands. So it's full of people who are grumpy in the first place. So that was a real challenge. So it's kind of India's Siberia, and it's not an easy place for tourists to get to. If you see, this is just a little side note, there's an island here called Sentinel Island, and it is the land of the naked people. So the people on that island still do not embrace anything modern. They run around wearing whatever bark clothing, and this is the island you've heard of, journalists trying to get on the island, and they've been greeted with spears and angry people. So it is totally untouched, despite airplanes going over and modern boats going by. Anyway, how did elephants get to the Andaman Islands in the first place? So during the British colonial period, Andaman Islands were used as a naval station and a penal colony in the late 1700s. So if you think about it as a penal colony, that's probably why they're all grumpy there. They started off that way, and that's their default attitude now. But the Andaman Islands are really lush tropical rainforests. So elephants were brought in the 1800s to be able to use in the logging industry. So it was something that they were working as bulldozers, they were cranes, they were transportation, they were whatever they need to be. It's just using these beasts of burden, so to speak. There are about 40,000 elephants in the wild and about 15 to 18,000 in captivity. But the Indian government decided that using elephants for the logging industry was not a good idea. So they put a moratorium on logging. This is just a nice aerial photo of what it looks like in the Andaman Islands. It's an archipelago, looks a little bit Palau-ish, something like that. Not quite the rock islands of Palau, but lots of small islands. And so elephants could easily from here swim around to get to place. And so in the Andamans, they actually used the elephants' swimming ability just to be able to transport them to other islands to use in logging. It was much easier and cheaper than putting them on a boat. I think they did learn their lesson, though, that they're supposed to tie them up. So in 2000, the Indian government outlawed using elephants in logging, and most of those elephants were privately owned, and they were moved back to the mainland since there wasn't anything that they could be doing on the Andaman Islands. There was this one elephant, Rajan, that in 2004 was brought to an island called Havelock Island in the Andamans, and it was used for a movie called The Fall. Again, I've done tons of research. All I can find is that he was used for this movie. I can't find that movie, but he was abandoned there, and the owner couldn't afford to bring him home. So instead, there's a small resort there called Barefoot at Havelock, and they bought Rajan in 2007. So Rajan from 2007 to 2014 would roam the jungles, and he earned his keep kind of swimming for tourists and doing photo shoots and stuff. But he really had full run of the island. In fact, one of my dear friends who joined me on this photo shoot was late one morning, and Rajan came out of the jungle, and he was waiting and waiting, and it was hot. And when Mike finally showed up ready with his camera, Rajan just took one look at him and ran back to the jungle, and that was done for the day. And another thing that I would ask of the mahout and the guys at the resort there was, how long will Rajan want to swim? And their answer, in the Indian way of wagging their chins like, and they would never give me a straight answer. So it was pretty much whatever Rajan wanted to do. In 2007, when I learned that the Andaman Islands had been open for tourism, and up until that point, India didn't allow tourists to get to that island. So I chartered a boat. Some of you may have remembered this boat. It's called the Ocean Rover, and it was out of Thailand. It was a beautiful boat with a wonderful crew, and Thailand is actually closer to the Andaman Islands than India. So I chartered the boat and said, hey, can we come and bring the boat over, and we'll film Rajan, and then we'll tour around the Andaman Islands and do some exploratory diving. So they agreed to it, and we had to jump through a lot of hoops, one of which included them, once they got to the Andamans, having to go back to Thailand to have some papers stamped and sail back again for us to be able to get on the boat. So it was not an easy thing when you're doing exploratory diving. There's a lot of challenges that come with it, and that was certainly one of them. But Rajan was able to just run amok and just enjoy the islands, and he seemed very happy there. He had 2 girlfriends on the island that didn't swim, but he was free to roam. They did have him at some points chained because he is a full intact bull elephant. So there were some challenges with him, with aggression sometimes. And I encountered that a little bit. But what I wanted to do right now is to go ahead and show you a little bit of video that I shot on this, and I hope the video is going to play okay and that the sound will come through. Well, this will give you an idea of what it's like to be in the water scuba diving with a swimming elephant with Rajan.
I came to the Andaman Islands not only to experience virgin diving, but to capture the story of Rajan, the swimming elephant. That long journey through 12 and a half time zones was worth every second. Rajan is a 56-year-old Asian bull elephant. He was brought to the Andaman Islands years ago to work in the logging industry. By day, Rajan was a beast of burden, laboring in the forest. With the heat of the day behind him, Rajan lumbered to the cool ocean with his mate of 20 years. It was she who taught him to swim. In the year 2000, the Indian government, who controls the Andaman Islands, placed a moratorium on logging in the archipelago. Around the same time, Rajan's mate was bitten by a cobra, and after a 3-day struggle, succumbed to the venomous reptile. Sadly, no one remembers much about her or their offspring. Elephants are extremely strong, social, and intelligent. In the wild, Asian elephants may live to 60 or 70 years of age. The Asian elephant is listed as endangered by the World Conservation Union. Scientists estimate the world population of Asian elephants to be around 60,000. Their population has been in steady decline due to poaching and loss of habitat. Elephant orphanages are working to bring the species back. They fund their activities through tourism and sales of unique items, such as paintings done by elephants. I bought no paper made from elephant dung. It has been the butt of many jokes. After the death of his mate and forced retirement from logging, Rajan was deeply depressed. Seeing the need for a period of mourning and a suitable retirement, the owners of Barefoot at Havelock Jungle Resort purchased Rajan. For the last 8 years, he's roamed the jungles of Havelock Island, cavorted with his 2 pachyderm girlfriends, and swum in the azure blue waters of the Bay of Bengal, off of what is now aptly called Elephant Beach. My brother Bill joined me for the photo shoot.
Ah, I got to meet him in Antarctica too. How fun. Yeah.
He looks really young, doesn't he, Carol?
Yeah.
Rajan and his mahout, or trainer, share a very close bond. They swim daily together, attracting quite a crowd of onlookers at Elephant Beach. The paparazzi snap their over-under shots. Gear tested and donned, cameras at the ready, we shout, "Cue the elephant!" Out of the distant gloom, the white of his ivory tusks appears, followed by legs the thicknesses of tree trunks. Suddenly, a 10-foot-tall bull elephant towers above me. Looking up at the ivory spears looming above is a most intimidating sight. I feared for my gate's housing, knowing it was the only thing between those platter-sized feet and me. 2 more great strides, and Rajan is submerged in a weightless freedom known only to those who venture into the sea. Rajan is a fast swimmer, covering a great deal of ground. At other times, he bobs happily at the surface, like a really big apple in a barrel. 3.5 tons of bulk is surprisingly graceful when submerged.
That's so cool. Bad boys.
Well aware of my presence, Rajan sometimes makes aggressive lunges towards me. Mostly, though, he tolerated my close proximity, even seeming to laugh as he splashed and kicked about. Rajan looks at me with a soft, blinking eye, his lashes long and graceful. I think he's smiling. So am I.
Wow. I'm so jealous.
Like a newly trained scuba diver, Rajan leaves behind him a cloud of displaced sand, turning visibility into near whiteout conditions. It doesn't help when a wild photographer racing madly to catch up adds to the sandstorm. Younger brother Bill was always in my way when we were growing up. Why should he be any different today?
Did you hear what I said? My younger brother Bill was always in my way. Why would today baby any different.
Mahout and Rajan do their own version of synchronized swimming. Even Esther Williams couldn't top this.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Dodging elephant turrets, which float very well despite being the size of volleyballs, is a good reason for the scuba diver's rule of looking up before surfacing. Obviously enjoying weightlessness, Rajan crawls in kneeling position along the sandy bottom, allowing his buoyant bum to elevate his hind legs off the bottom. I have dived with and filmed a variety of marine creatures in my nearly 30 years as a diver, but filming a 3-ton elephant had me more nervous than on any photo shoot. I understand how sharks, whales, dolphins, and marine critters behave in the water, but an elephant? Filming Rajan and diving in the virgin waters of the Andaman Sea was a 30-year dream come true. As Rajan heads for the beach and home, I wonder, what can I possibly film to top this? Stay tuned.
That was great. Very nice, Nance.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, that ending scene that I just did a quick screen grab here, I was so proud of myself while I was swimming along, because at that point I had, for me, it was a very expensive wide angle lens that went on my Gates housing. For those of you who are familiar, it was a Fathom lens that was 110 degrees, and it was a very expensive lens. And I was trying to get really close to Rajan, but not so close that I got kicked, because I thought, you know, this is just perfect footage for ending credits. So I just want to swim along right behind him, make sure the feet don't kick me. So I really wasn't paying much attention other than to not get kicked and overswim him. And when I showed this for the first time, I was actually at Boston Sea Rovers, and I was at the Copley Plaza in the same room where Ella Fitzgerald had sung and, let's see, John F. Kennedy had spoken. So it was a little intimidating, and I showed this film, and at the end, when the credits are running, I could hear, you know, the kids in the audience are snickering, and the adults are, you know, just whispering along. And then I realized, oh, well, yeah, it is a fully intact bull elephant, and it's not wearing any trunks. So you do get to see more than you think you do. And every time, of course, he got in the water, the first thing he did was take a big
I was like,
poop.
1, 2, 3,
So
4,
that looking up thing was really, really important. And side note, I had a young intern working with me who was trying really hard to impress and do everything right by me. And so before I went to do this, in one of her tasks, I said, I need you to find out if elephant poop sinks or floats. So, poor thing, she went and did all the research she could, and this was, of course, way before there was much information on the internet. And she came back, and at that point, it was just a 50-50 guess. Elephant poop floats quite well because they eat so much straw. So yeah, you did look up a lot when you were swimming along, and take a shower afterwards. Anyway, when we went, the story became really big news, and partly my own fault because I talked about it afterwards and presented at many a film show, and it made cover of news magazines. Some of my brother's stills were also on there. So a lot of people suddenly were in hot demand and to go, they were hot to go see Rajan. That more photographers wanted in, filmmakers wanted in, and so the demand on Rajan was a lot harder, I believe. Okay, my screen share went away.
Yeah, we just lost
Right.
it again.
Okay. Well, it is the one thing, though, I can brag that I was the centerfold in Men's Journal magazine. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, everybody
Got it.
failed, right? Okay, it was next to the 3,000-pound elephant, but nevertheless, I'm the centerfold.
Woo!
What a naked man.
Well, the guy that shot this is Jeff Yonover, just this super photographer, a wonderful friend, and I'll never have another shot like that again. So, anyway, that was me backing up, sculling with my fins, trying not to let them get in the shot, but also back up as fast as I could because Rajan could cover a lot of territory, and he would come at me, and sometimes. You know how it is when you're filming, when you're a photographer, you're so busy looking at the little box in front of you and looking at your viewfinder, you forget to pull it down and look at the scene in front of you. So there were some times that I was nearly right under the tusks. And that was not a good place to be because he was very big and, as I said before, could at times be quite aggressive if he wanted to be, probably just to see what you do. But he was a bull male. So I mentioned that, you know, there were a lot of photo shoots that happened afterwards. A lot of people wanted to get that shot with Rajan. So here's one later on. I felt really badly, actually, and I've struggled with my conscience since then because, you know, they were making money off of people coming in to film the elephant and do these photo shoots. And so whether Rajan wanted to go swimming that day or not, if they were getting paid, they were making Rajan get out there. So the mahout would drag them out, and you know it's a tough life to be a domesticated animal like that, especially the life of an elephant. If you really want to know, then look up how they have an elephant submit to humans. But really, you don't want to know. It's a sad story. So, you know, he did end up not having a great career when he was at Havelock towards the end of it, when more and more people knew that they could have access to this swimming elephant. And then as his tusks grew longer and started to grow together and he got more aggressive and more difficult to handle, they went ahead and cut his tusks. So some of the shoots that you'll see later on would be an image like this where they had cut his tusks, and then it was finally time to retire him. So let's see, in 2014, he was permanently retired, and then he died at the age of 66 in 2016. So to the best of my knowledge, that is the last swimming elephant that you can get access to that swims in the ocean. You know, most elephants, they're very good swimmers, but they swim in mountain, lakes, riverbeds, whatever. They're not swimming in deep waters like in the Andaman Islands. So we tend not to think of elephants as being very good swimmers when they actually are. We just don't get to access them in many places where we can really get in the water with them and watch them swim. But, you know, I got my dream come true, and I got to have an elephant swim over my head, and I spent 3 days in and out of the water with Rajan, just having an absolutely lovely time. So it's something I will never forget. And despite not having spoken of this, I don't think I've given this presentation in 5 years. So I'm a little stumbly on it, a little weak, but it's something I really enjoy talking about because it's an example of if you really want to do it, make it happen. You know, I did this on a school teacher's budget. If you want to do something, you can find a way, do it. It was an amazing experience. To get to have that eye contact with an elephant was pretty special. Just, you know, there's definitely communication there. And I'm sure that we've got people on this Zoom tonight that have been in the water with a dolphin or a manta, or maybe even lucky enough to be in the water with a whale. And the communication really happens. You can look in that animal's eye and you know they know you're there. Certainly seen that with great white sharks as well in Guadalupe and in South Australia. So it's interesting to have that relationship with the animal underwater and recognize that it's their ocean and they can do what they want to do. So Rajan seemed very happy when I was there. I'm just sorry that he didn't get to fulfill his life totally happy. Certainly was far better in the Andaman Islands where he was not working in the logging industry and he had the freedom to run around in his own jungle and swim in the water when he wanted to. And he really played like a kid. So it was really fun to be a part of that and get to experience that firsthand.
Love it.
So that's all I've got for you. Do you guys have any questions for me?
No, we're just sort of jealous because, of course, now we all want to swim with elephants.
I'm Andrea. I'll go ahead and ask it's, I guess, sort of an ethical question, which you've already sort of addressed. Since childhood, of course, Tarzan of the Apes was one of my heroes, the fictional character of the novels. And he rides around on elephants, and they have a mystical union, and it's great. And so I've always been fascinated with elephants since I was little. I've read a lot. I had the privilege to hear Cynthia Moss probably 30 years ago. She's an elephant expert. She's the Jane Goodall of elephants. To hear her speak. There are some books on evolution that reference elephants swimming huge distances, like 500 miles. And so I was really fascinated to see this. There is a book I read, I think it's called Elephant Man, about the elephants that were used in the Second World War to move people across mountains out of the way, and really interesting. I read how they trained the elephants and what they did with the infants, and you don't want to know. Here's my question. In Paoli, Indiana, which is 3 hours from here, maybe 4, there is a rescue ranch where they have elephants that have been rescued from circuses, small places people have elephants. And you can go over there and you can now, this is, I don't know, 5 years ago, I haven't looked since COVID, but you can go over there, you can pay to have an experience with the elephant. They let you wash them, they let you feed them, they let you pet them. You can stay and do other goofy things like ride a little train, but the main attraction is the elephants. So the question is, the elephant is obviously sentient, it does remember, it's really intelligent, and your money is supporting them, but is it really, do you think they're really okay with being in a petting zoo? I wouldn't want to disrespect the elephant by going over there to play with it, or, so that's the question. What about the dignity of the animal, and what do you think about that?
Wow, that's a very deep and challenging question, Andrea, that I've struggled with even to the point when I've done some caving, thinking, people interact with this and they spoil it. But I also recognize that without those opportunities to introduce kids to animals at the zoo, for them to get to see and especially, thank goodness that zoos have changed, that they get to see them in more of a natural habitat, they're well cared for, they're well fed. No, they are not in the wild, but in the case of those rescue elephants you're talking about, there's no choice. They're not going to be released out into the wild again. Transporting them would be problematic, but they also might not be invited into a family and would maybe have a worse life letting them in the wild. So some of the best advice I ever got when people ask, what about conservation and how can I make a difference? I can't go out there and wash off the ducks and the birds that got the oil on them. What can I do? And it was Kathy Church who said, pick 3 organizations. Find a local one, find a national one, and find an international one. Doesn't matter what, just organizations where you believe in the work that they're doing and support them with your dollars. And so in the case of this elephant orphanage, that would be my advice, is support them with your dollars. I'm sure the elephants are much better treated than they could be otherwise. My brother that was seen in that video is a veterinarian, and he does some work for a large cat farm that's a sanctuary near where his vet practice is. And it's the same thing. It's people who in New York had a lion that they thought was really cool to have in their apartment. And then and the lion got too big, and oh my gosh, so it ends up in this refuge, and so those sanctuaries are doing great work, most of them, and they need support because it's good-hearted people who are just trying to do their best by these animals.
Well, and I think too, aquariums in general, like, you know, specifically the Georgia aquarium. I remember they were talking about how they brought in the whale sharks. I think the last time I was there, they had 3 whale sharks, but they actually bought them from the fishermen who, you know, at the dock kind of a thing. So, I mean, you know, we have that opportunity to bring some of those animals and show inner city peoples, or, you know, like us, we're stuck in the middle, right? We're right in the square in the middle, exposing us to maybe creatures that we wouldn't otherwise get to see. We're just very blessed and lucky that we actually get to go and see them in the wild and participate with them. So I agree. Joining in with those organizations and helping to our best of our ability is a good opportunity. So,
Is it selfish to want to go wash an elephant?
well, so interestingly, when I was on the fire department, the elephants came through as part of the circus, and so they asked the fire department to come in and wash the elephants.
Yeah.
And of course, I was a volunteer firefighter at the time. I'm like, yes, pick me. So I actually got to do that up in Troy, Missouri.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, and they loved it. The elephants loved it. You
I bet.
squirted the water all
Yeah.
over them, and they were like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, you know. So, yeah, pretty great opportunity. So, good.
Yeah, I'd say yes to that too. You know, the early footage that I showed of the elephants on land
Yeah.
actually was shot, okay, filmmaker secret. It was shot in Sri Lanka at an elephant orphanage there.
Oh,
And we got to feed the babies. It was just an amazing experience. You just got to do it. Go have an encounter with them. They really will make you feel good about life, and they need positive encounters with people too.
I love that. I love that.
They can't jump. They can't jump. They can't take off and land. They're physically incapable of it. I mean, there's facts about it, and they're not really they're strong to push things over, but they can't carry a lot of weight on their back.
Huh. It is interesting.
Very interesting stuff.
So are some of you guys going on the Africa safari where you'll get to see elephants there?
I don't think anybody here's done Africa. Have you guys done Africa? You guys did Africa. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there was an elephant, like a sanctuary where they gave rides, but these were elephants that had been escaped from the herd, and so they were taking them in to look after them, and that was an interesting experience. And I'll give you one more quick tale. Many years ago, we were headed north on a family thing here in Missouri, and we came upon a Taco Bell that was giving elephant rides. So of course we stopped and bought our Taco Bell stuff, and we got to ride on an elephant. Can you guess what city this was?
No camera, Mike.
Hannibal.
Hannibal. Oh.
Where else would it be? It's Hannibal.
That's funny.
Traveling across Indiana when I was a kid in the car, there was one of those little gypsy circuses by the side of the road.
Yeah.
One of their old trucks had broken down, and they had an elephant walking around. Just a little,
Just
you know, that's the kind of elephants that need to be rescued.
Probably. Yes. Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah, so when we were in Zambia, we went out and we went with the elephants and rode, and they had the babies and everybody going, but it was like you were just on them free, and the handlers had said, you know, if they take off or anything, just hold on. And I remember going to the jungle, and it's like we got between 2 trees, and there was this humongous spider that had a web about the size of a bed quilt. And I'm thinking, oh my God, please don't go through this. But she missed it, thankfully. But it was an experience, and then afterwards we got footprints.
Yeah.
Footprints.
I think we lost Cindy.
Oh, there she is. Yeah.
You're breaking up, Cindy.
Yeah, we have the footprints in the frame in the living room.
Oh, that's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
You have to invite us over sometime, Cindy.
Fancy.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, you could still buy elephant feet as like a table or a step stool.
No.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
real ones. Yeah.
Yeah. I showed Art in this little store that had elephant feet.
But not real elephant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
elephant
Oh,
feet.
no, that's terrible. Okay.
I'm just saying.
All right.
Taxidermy,
well,
but
okay.
yeah.
Let's talk about something positive real quick. Will you do me a favor and talk a little bit about Missoula? Do you have a minute?
Oh, I'd love to talk about Missoula.
Yay, talk about Missoula.
Well, okay, Raja Ampat, West Papua, in the very far eastern side of Indonesia. So Missoula is an island that would be like Papua New Guinea. West Papua is the Indonesian side of the island of Papua New Guinea. And there's a number of smaller islands around there. One of the islands is called Missoula, and it is the place to dive. I think if I had, thinking of tennis, you've got the sweet spot on the tennis racket. So you're in the Coral Triangle, but I say that Missoula is the epicenter of the Coral Triangle.
Agreed.
And for years, I've gone to Raja Ampat, and I thought the only way to do that was by liveaboard boat. And I did this trip to land-based Missoula Eco Resort. Well, Missoula Eco Resort is established, first of all, to protect the reefs around there. They have a very eco-friendly mindset to it. So they are the ones that give permission for any liveaboard dive boat to come in and dive the sites there.
Yes.
Well, who are they going to give permission to first? The people who are at their resort. It is a lovely, lovely place with the best people who run it. You've got spacious areas for your dive center. It's not very far walk to the boats. You have beautiful cottages over the water or in the jungle overlooking water. The food is fabulous. You can dive right there in the lagoon. You can go down the steps and swim around or snorkel right from where your cottage is. Diving, unbelievable. I rolled in the water. Actually, Valerie, it was my first dive after Antarctica, and I rolled into like 86, 87 degree water and looked down and saw just the beautiful soft corals and the anthias everywhere, and just massive fish, like, what you think of as being the perfect ocean. And I just went, oh yeah, I'm home. This is where I've been. Yeah, it's a really special place. So you fly to the city of Sorong. So that would be the equivalent of, say, flying from LA to New York in Indonesia terms. So you fly from Jakarta or Bali to Sorong, and overnight in Sorong. Next day you get on a speedboat, and it takes, depending on water conditions, 3-4 hours to get to Missoula Eco Resort. And then you've got an opportunity to just walk around. It's very, very spacious. They have library. They do have tiny Wi-Fi, a little bit, not much, only in one place, which for me is absolutely lovely, because when I'm on a dive trip, I want to interact with people. I don't want to see the tops of their heads, as everybody is on their device. So I really like that part. If you need to get connectivity, you can get it, but really it's about the environment. You can dive as much as you want. I think the standard is 3 dives, maybe 4. I'm sorry, I've looked at so many other trips lately. I don't know that I can remember exactly what you do in a day. You can do night dives, and you say, I want to go diving, they're going to take you diving, and they're not going to charge you extra for it. It's a great place for what, like Andrea, you are mixed marriage, diver, non-diver. So it's a great place for that, because non-diver not only has lots of room to walk around, so you're not stuck on a boat, you've got room to move around, but they offer, we took a cooking class and learned how to do some Indonesian dishes. They have a beautiful spa. They'll do trips to the beach. You can work, and there are a few things that they'll ask you to pay extra for just because you're supporting their ecotourism. You can help restore coral reefs, and there are a few other things like that. They support local villages. They hire locals to work there. So it's a real success story, and everything they built from reclaimed woods.
Nice.
So as a shameless plug, I partnered with Nancy we're doing a Missoula trip in June of 2027, and then a September trip We've done the Day We Knew Centaur, we've done the liveaboard experience, and now we're looking forward to sharing the eco resort with our travelers. So 2 opportunities in Missoula that we're really looking forward to. So when you read all the magazines, of course, it's top tier. So we're pretty excited about those opportunities, and Nancy helped bring us to that property. So thank you, Nancy. Looking forward to that.
I'm excited for you because there's a wait list of over 100 groups, not people, but groups like
Yes.
yourselves, dive shop owners, etc., on the wait list for this as soon as they release the 2028 dates. So getting space there is nearly impossible, and they're
Well,
sold out.
And I think
Unless
I
somebody
told you that
last minute
my dive shop, my dive travel company, she wasn't actually able to get me in. So it was your connections that were able to get me space there. So I feel very lucky and blessed and excited to share it with our travelers. So, yay.
Yep, you're gonna love it.
I know, we're gonna love it. So, all right, I think we've got all of our questions answered here. We certainly appreciate you sharing your adventure, your journey, and your experience with us. I know you've got lots of things you could share, and we sure appreciate you, Nancy. So what a pleasure to have you on tonight, and actually to have you as a friend. So we look forward to hearing more from you and traveling with you and in the future. So with that, I just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I think this is our last speaker series until the new year. So everybody enjoy the holidays, and we look forward to seeing everybody in the new year, including my dear friend Nancy. Everybody, let's thank you, Nancy. Yay! All right.
Go Y-kiki.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Y-kiki.
divers are the best.
Yay!
Yes.
Yep, we're gonna go diving in the winter.
Right.
All
Hope
right,
to see you at the Ice Bowl Fest.
I love it. Yeah. All right. Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thanks,
Good night,
Nancy.
Nancy. Mwah. Thank you.
Good night.
Yay.
I could get that for Joy for her birthday.
Which one, Missoula?